but static data is not going to be it.
But I'd like to thank you all for coming. That's about all the time we have. But really, thank you for your patience and sorry for the technical difficulties. And welcome to the EverQuest II Systems panel. Yes, this is how it works. Get used to it.
Just like the
So first, let me start by introducing everybody. I'm Michael. I'm Ganz, Xelgad on the forums, and with me I've got.
I'm Brian, Ferguson.
I'm Nandy, Szots, Zoltaroth on the forums.
I'm very white. I'm Kander, Vallée, lead designer.
Yeah, we decided that Nandy is not cool enough to be on the presentation.
Why do you pick programmers?
Because they're programmers. Why wouldn't we get them? As usual with fanfare presentations, so in the SOE Live, I apologize. All things discussed about the expansion are subject to change, and we're going to be discussing the itemization of our itemization panel. We're going to only briefly go over it here. It would start at 5, but it's going to start a little after that because we're all delayed. So today we're going to be discussing a new class channeler. Yeah, so Nandy has some crowd to get you guys some crowd. Ooh. We're going to be discussing the new alternate advancements, new trees, and new rogue endlines, or more rogue endlines. My apologies. Brian here is going to be discussing the Dungeon Finder 2.0 and its group builder, and the matchmaker that comes with it. We would hope. He will also be discussing player versus player stuff like usual, and some trade skills. Yeah! And that's what we get most of us for. Come on, people. So over the last year, we're just going to give you a quick review. We raised the level cap with our last expansion, Chains of Eternity. We expanded the prestige trees. We added in our last game update the character advancement templates, letting you change your AA specs on the fly. And we can thank our awesome programmers for the ability to cast their mounts in zones. Sort of. Sometimes when they work. Brian here made some refining and experimentation for you trade skillers and mass production and all that good stuff that you got with the expansion. Well, you can buy Brian drinks later since he is obviously the most popular one here. We added some player versus player contested drops from Raid Moms X2s. Alright, X2s. And then we did a bunch of focus feedback adjustments on the forums, spoke with you guys, changed some things to remove the tedium, I hope. So like I said, a few seconds about itemization. With the expansion, we're going to be throwing a new itemization system in that is all about adding choices with different allocations of stats for your armor. Jewelry will be what's focused on your procs and effects and all kinds of cool, fun stuff. And we're going to be giving you purple adornments, which will be on armor and weapons. And I believe belts and cloaks. I'm going off memory here, so. As I said, we'll have more details and we'll discuss the entire system at the itemization balls panel at 5:15 p.m. So with this expansion, we are going to be letting you guys unlock additional rogue endlines. So you'll be able to spend as you can tell, a huge chunk of points for a second or a third rogue endline if you wish. We're also, when we do this, we're going to be doing a pass to make sure all of them are viable and interesting, making sure that everything is a good choice. We don't want any, oh man, I don't want that in mind. So working on that. We're going to do a quick pass over those and make sure they're all viable. But now for new stuff. As you saw in the keynote, if you were there, I hope you were, we have new dragon-themed alternate advancement tree. You're going to be getting 20 new points, so the cap would be a total of 340. They are archetype based, so scouts, mages, fighters, and priests. You'll be able to spend a total of 50 new points in the tree, so you might want to move some points around. And each tree has 4 lines. The tree kind of looks like this. So you can spec down like that and grab a headline, and hopefully it'll be interesting. Hopefully. So here's one of the priest abilities. It's a survivability line down. One focus on keeping yourself alive rather than keeping your group. Make some decisions here, people. We got a Dragon Wrath, which is a scout ability. As you can see, it's a stun if the target's not active, but it also would be directly behind the target, just to help you with positioning a little bit. We got a Dragon Claws ability for mages, which will increase your potency by a pretty sizable chunk and let you do some more damage in a spiky fashion. Yeah, kaboom, as Brian says. We got a priest ability that will help increase whoever you're healing their maximum health, keep them alive. Less one-shots here. We also got a ability that stack or does not stack with upbeat tempo, but if you do not get one, if you're not that one special mage, you can spec for it and get one that helps you out when you don't have that troubadour help you. All fighters will be able to spec for an additional snap, including the poor paladins who are so sad about their lack of snaps. You're welcome, Ergot. All fighters will be able to spec for a quick heal, so guardians who are sad that they don't have any heals whatsoever can grab this one if they want it. And then these are for souling. As you can see, it can't be used in combat, but it'll clear your reuse abilities, and it's not supposed to be passive. The picture is wrong. It lies. It has a reuse. So I'm going to pass you off to Brian here to talk about Dungeon Finder 2.0.
Yes.
Probably.
Alright, we're going to have a UI with increased feedback about your queue status. So you can actually tell what's going on, not that, oh, I'm in queue and nothing's happening. You're going to be able to see, oh, we aren't in a group in a dungeon right now because we're waiting on a tank. And you'll actually be able to invite your friend directly to that slot. We're going to have increased rewards for using the system. So you'll be able to get a platinum, alternate currency, and a smart limited loot crate that will have items back for your class. It'll include all dungeons, including current content, including the new expansion dungeons. It's going to have accurate gear requirements, so you're not going to have to carry some scrub and handcrafted gear through the dungeon. That's not going to happen.
Sorry, people who are using handcrafted gear.
But there will be dungeons you can do in that gear.
So he says.
Oh, and it will only build functional groups. That is, yeah.
You won't end up with that 4-tank group that was pretty amazing with no VR. Right.
So, it'll make sure you have a tank, a healer, a support, a DPS class, and 2 flexible slots. In addition to the base Dungeon Finder system, we're also introducing the Group Builder system. This will allow you to customize the classes that are allowed in each role in your group. So if you only want to have a shaman healer for whatever reason, you can do that. Also, you'll be able to change the flexible roles to specific roles. So being able to make a 2 healer group or a double tank group like some zones require will be easier than that. Right, PvP adjustments. We're going to be looking at some combat pacing adjustments. More specifically, some specialty heal rebalancing. So we're looking at HOTS, reactives, and wards, making sure that they stack up as equally as we can get them to. Also, we're going to be increasing the amount of auto attack stat that converts into PvP auto attack damage, so that'll offset the increased health that we're going to be bringing for revitalization. We're going to be increasing the balance between AoE classes and single target DPS classes, so that a warlock can't blow up a single target as well as an assassin can. We're going to be looking at reward pacing adjustments and expanding upon what we did with G67, making sure that you feel rewarded for doing PvP instead of having a PvP for 3 weeks at a time and not get one reward. More fun than that. And as always, we're looking at new rewards. There'll be full new sets of gear with the expansion. Alright, trade skills.
Again, cheers. Yeah, Brian, we're really popular today.
We're going to have new heroic and trade recipes. These will make consumables, like temporary heroics, potions, and more. We're also going to have level 90 trade skill books. Yes, the missing ones.
Oops.
These will give you specialized utility items such as like a tracking totem, crafting equipment, and illusion items.
I think we're just gonna skip the Chandler stuff because nobody wants to hear about it. But you do want to hear about it. Okay. So, oh yes. So the priest wears leather armor, as you can see. We put them with leather so they have, obviously, that's our least used armor type. So why not just put a new class on that one? We wanted them to use a bow because it's amazing. They'll have unique class abilities, as you would expect. They use a new type of energy, which is dissonance, and we'll get into that a little bit in a second. They have a special hotbar like these swords do for conduit abilities, and a brand new specialty heal mechanic. But first, let me show you this. If it runs. God, I hope it does. It's loaded, as you can see from the first. So this is the Channeler fighting the challenge mode of Wormboat's End. We had to turn off the darkness so you can actually see what the heck's going on. But as you can see, the Channeler is actually able to move around a lot while they're fighting. So, what was that? Some of their abilities can. Their construct, as you can see, is fighting in the background. He's their specialty heal mechanic that we'll get into in a second. But they have some pretty good technique. Now, granted, this isn't raid gear, so don't get too excited that a handcrafted gear character will be able to do this, because they'll probably die a horrible bloody death. Thank you. So you like dying horrible bloody deaths? Got it. Well, they are very similar to a ranger with their bow, so I expect them to die constantly. So now I'm feared. Oh God. Looks like I'm going to die, except not. I forgot that I could heal. As you can see above my character's head, you'll see some blue text. Not sure if you can see it on that monitor. Okay, you can. Right in the middle. That is your construct protecting you. Hey, no lag. So the blue text is your construct, your specialty heal, which we'll get into in a second. But your construct can protect someone that you tell it to, which right now is obviously myself. There's nobody else. And then we dance upon Rel, is that how you say it? Whatever, you made it. Oh, he's not going to tell me, he's just going to leave me hanging here. But we're dancing on Terrain after this. So here's some of the abilities you probably didn't see me using because the visuals weren't too good. I didn't have all my visuals yet, but now we do. So you'll see them on beta later today if you go test it out. Vector of Life, and this is with a lot of potency, so which can be cast while moving, as you can see. Shadow Escape, you saw me use that in the video where I teleported back. That was not the mob, that was me. And then when I was about to die, I popped that. It only lasted 5 seconds, but it saved my ass. So the specialty heal mechanic is that construct that you saw fighting with me. The construct can be, as you can see here, can be commanded to intercept a damage from a group member or the entire group if you spec for it at a lesser rate. The interception weakens as the construct's health falls. So as he falls from green to yellow to orange and then red, it'll actually suspend red, but we'll get to that in a second. It can be parsed, so have fun. The health of the construct is based upon the channel's crit level or level, crit bonus, and potency. So it scales with your stats rather than just not scaling with your stats. You'll be answering a question at the end of this presentation. You in the front row, you know who I'm talking to. The construct cannot die, and he disables it at 25% health. He can't be directly attacked by enemies. Thank you, Nandy. But in PvP combat, go kill it, so go cripple it. It cannot be healed by normal means, and only the channeler's repair abilities will work on him. You can customize this guy. So he's got 6 appearance slots, 2 of which you get just by leveling up, and 4 you get by going out into the world and using channel essence to unlock the customizations. The 4 ability slots will also unlock at the same time. He does not need to be leveled up like we score quarters. Since I know that was so... Here's a picture of your construct window where you can modify it as you wish. Change the appearance. Go back and forth a few times. Ooh, you can change how it looks. Pretty. And obviously, you can unlock those abilities. They're all essences. So, because the channeler channels the essence of a creature into their golem, they're all named after the creature that you channel. So you can have your guy auto heal. You can have him reduce the amount of damage to the interception to keep him alive longer. You can increase it too. You can reduce magic damage or you can reduce physical damage depending on the fight, what you're doing, what group you're in. You can make him debuff targets for you. It's not that huge of a debuff, but you might notice it, especially in PvP. And you can increase his health. So, as I said earlier, we got the conduits and the conduit bar. The conduit abilities equipped on the bar are like Beast Sword, primal abilities. And the bar is 10 slots, but it's not broken up into multiple sections. I got a screenshot in a second for you. Didn't have room in my slides, so you have to wait. Be patient. Slots 1 and 2 are reserved for 1 of 6 repair abilities, and the way we have this built is any one repair ability of your primaries can go in either one of those 2 slots. And slot 3 is you are forced, yes, forced, to take an emergency heal. And slot 4, you got to take a debuff because we don't want you being crippled. And then you have 5 or 6 wildcard slots which have 14 different abilities. You can't change it in combat. So here is that bar. As you can see, it tells you your dissipation of dissonance, which starts at 0% and goes upward. You generate it and then you dissipate it. And here are some abilities. You can get a cure that uses your dissonance. It generates some. You can grab interpose redirect and he will automatically heal your ally. And then you can, those scouts who hate to joust, you know who you are. This class will pull you back out of that AE. You can run back in. And you know who you are. So about dissonance, guys. So when you use a conduit ability, you generate dissonance. It goes upward from 0 to 10,000, and it dissipates over time. It's not like Beast Sword where you generate then use. This is, generating it's a reverse power pool. It's kind of like you're overheating from like Mech Warrior, if you played that game, besides the people up here. Oh, there, we got someone. We got a couple, okay, we got a few people. So you understand what we're doing, we understand. The lower your distance is, the faster it dissipates because you have less. No, but you can get some AAs. Once the channeler has too much distance, so they're really high on the noise that they're generating, you can't cast conduits. But your maintained conduits will suspend rather than cancel because that would be really annoying. And obviously, the super secret testing session is not super secret anymore. We're testing channeler. So come by tomorrow at around 2 to 6 p.m. on the mezzanine and 12 to 1 p.m. on Sunday for the feedback panel and let us know what you think. We've got pre-made channelers from level 30, 40, 50, and 60. All right, level 30 through 60, or you can roll your own. I wouldn't suggest it because there's no starter here. So have fun with that. But you can play one of ours. So now I'm going to open the floor for questions. We're not going to be answering any class questions like, why is my wild boar samurai being outparsed by a monkey mage? And yes, we will add those, maybe no. And again, please keep itemization questions for the itemization panel later in the day. And as you can see in the middle of the room, there is a microphone. So if you have questions for us, head on up and form a line, and we're listening. While you're lining up, I'll let you know that the construct uses the target's mitigation. It doesn't come before like normal interposes and use your own. So if you're interposing on a plague tank, it's going to use his mitigation, take some lighter hits, for example. If you put him on a mage, he's going to take heavier hits. So it's a balancing act of who you're going to have to protect. We have a question?
Yeah, it's not anything you addressed directly today, and I love mercenaries, don't take it light. But is there any chance a mercenary could run the same speed as the players so that they would get half a mile behind you and you run to a mile and start fighting?
Nandy, can you help us?
Either that or make them not, or they aren't accurate, or also attack them with the others. Well, it's real annoying to get way away from them. You have to fight start, get off the mountain.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're talking about. There is some code in there that actually speeds up mercenaries that are following you to try to make them follow faster. We can look at increasing their base speed. What we're trying to stay away from is having a mercenary run on foot as fast as you're running on a mount, which kind of looks silly. On the other hand, that doesn't care when you take it off on a flying mount, so make them curious about that. So yeah, that's something we can look into.
We don't take questions from Indiana Jones.
So my question is, based on abilities that target you and can negatively impact you, like Channel Pool and Bloodletter, if you don't want those effects going off on you, is there a way to turn it, like an option to turn abilities off and going on you, negatively impact you?
You can quick off Bloodletter, but the channel or pull is going to have to, you have to put on your deal with this unless that he doesn't pull fighters, so you're okay.
No, I was wondering about scouts too, like healers just kind of scout.
You'll have, so with the channel or pull, it's more of a communication, right? So if your group doesn't want you using that, talk to your channel and be like, hey guy, stop being mean. Yeah, it's a communicate with your group.
With the cool new customization for pets and stuff like that, are we going to see any of that maybe for other summoners or summoners in general, or is that just specific to this class forever?
So, well, I wouldn't say it's just specific to this class forever, but we have no current plans to add more customization to summoners, shamans, and other pet users. Keep in mind, the channeler's pet is more of a visualization of their heal. It's not really a pet in the standard sense of the word.
It is cool.
Thank you.
Question a lot of these lords have probably been thinking for a very long time. Any chance of making the other pets useful so they don't die immediately during raids? Any of them, so we can have more of a variety?
So we're always looking at making some class adjustments. Right now, that's not on the schedule, but that said, these sports are themselves on the schedule, and when we get there, we'll take a look at making their pets more viable in more situations.
Thank you.
I have two questions. The first one, is there any plans to give leather healers the ability to remain no res, sick res in combat? Because as it stands, are the only healers that don't.
Not right now. There's no plans currently.
The other one I wanted to ask is, are paladins going to be able to cure trauma anytime soon?
Not right now. There's no plans currently. It's the same answer. But they can use Zealous Smite if they spec for it.
Hello, a question of clarification regarding the Dungeon Finder. You said that there's going to be a reward system in place for using the Dungeon Finder. You also said that there's likely going to be the ability to pull your friends into that group. So let's say you start a Dungeon Finder queue, you pull your friends in. Can you then start the Dungeon Finder, pull all your friends and fill the group and still reap the reward? Or does it require that you somehow pull a random person in somewhere?
No, you'll be able to queue with your group and still get that reward.
My question is in regards to the channeler. You had shown the different essences that are possible in regards to those. I'm wondering if those are going to be exactly those there. I'm wondering if those are going to be similar to the Beast Lord, where we have to go out and find a particular type of animal like that, or if we get those as we level.
So you don't get at any of these abilities just by leveling. These, as you can see, reptile, rodent, and they use the same classifications as Beast Lords do. So you need to go find one of those. You don't actually have a 100% chance to tame, well, channel the essence, but you go out there, you have a pretty good chance, and it gets higher. So if you keep failing, it has higher and higher chance until you're forced to succeed. And you have to actually go out there and collect these essences. And let me go back and clarify something else. The bottom 4 abilities on that screenshot are the slots for those. So you have a head slot ability, a shoulder slot ability, hands, and feet. And you will have to pick one of 4 for each slot.
Okay, and I got one other question in regards to the group finder. Dungeon Finder / Group Builder, is that going to be more functional for the lower level characters to be able to get a group for a dungeon, or are we still going to have to put out looking for a group for God knows how long and just use a mercenary solo?
We're revamping the entire system, so it'll be from level 1 to the next.
Okay.
Okay, I have a real quick question about PvP and how that affects PvE actually. As you've gone through and you have tried to balance the classes in PvP, it's also starting to affect PvP play, specifically let's say for Warden, where now we're standing underneath the mob because we have no range. Is there any plans to give us back some range? We are the least amount of armor and we have to be the closest to the battle.
That was multiple questions. But when we adjust for PvP, we adjust only for PvP. I don't know what range change you're talking about off the top of my head, but your Warden should have the same range as all the other melee healers. As for giving more armor to Wardens, there's no plans at that time. We were considered them pretty powerful.
Wardens don't have range.
Wardens are in range. Wardens are like 19 meters.
Yeah, but they have the same, granted the Pyros and AAs, but Fury doesn't have any more range than that either on their heals.
Right, but you have the Inquisitor that has like 25 meters and the outside melee.
There are no plans for Wardens to get more range.
So the person who doesn't need the armor is the one who doesn't need it. Gotcha.
No class versus class questions.
Personal harvest people, any chance of increasing the slot count on that? I mean, just be proficient, fill up all 100 slots, and have more things besides it.
You got 1,000 slots now, right?
Well, personal harvest people.
Yeah, the new one's 1,000. Yeah. Tank or? Yeah, it's the same recipe actually.
Why do you hate the database?
Please don't kill our database.
Hi. So, over the years, y'all have been doing a lot of things to make things easier for us, faster, quicker, more efficient, so we spend less time fiddling with our UIs, more time playing the game. So the last thing that y'all did that everybody I'm sure appreciates is the AA Builder. And we have 3 on-server slots and unlimited slots on our PCs. However, it's inefficient. We have to basically erase 3 pages of AAs to get back to change one bubble in our class tree.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I ran into this when I was respecting my AAs and an engineer that actually did that change. But we had a long talk about it. The problem is that build mode is constantly only letting you make valid choices. And at any time, if we let you break the validity of your build, you might not ever get back to a valid state. Does that make sense?
Except that Beatney did it before y'all did about 3 years ago.
Well, but they don't have to, they're not actually constantly checking the correctness of that. We could build an AA calculator that just lets you throw points wherever, whether or not it was valid, but the system only really, the server only really knows how to build out a correct set as you're building it based off of rules. It's not really an AA calculator, it's a build creator. Our intent was that by making the AA file, the XML files that you can load in to the game, relatively simple to create. Our hope is that someone like Vallée over there will create a web-based AA profile generator that will allow you to have that kind of functionality. Because we have to think of not only the advanced players, but the newer players, right? And so we have to make it kind of this baseline that might not have all the flexibility that a power user wants. But that's why we added the feature of you can have it on your hard drive and load it in, because then third-party sites can make all kinds of different calculators, all kinds of different things.
To add to Nandy's answer, we also have to keep the order of which you're spending the points, so that if you were to give that to your friend, it knows what order you built your spec in, so when they're leveling up and getting points, right? So what can happen is if you're trying to respec something in the Shadows tree, but you actually build that tree before you build your heroic tree, it'll screw up the order, and then how would we be able to rebuild that? So you'll just have to say, well, unfortunately, until Belden or somebody like him builds one of those. Builds one of those calculators. If you just make a new spec and save it, eventually you'll have all the specs you could possibly want on your hard drive, and you'll be able to load them whenever you want.
All right, thank you.
Hello, I had a couple of questions. First, with the Dungeon Finder, is there any chance of that becoming cross-server?
Cross-server Dungeon Finder is something that we really want to do. Unfortunately, it requires revamping EQ2's entire database code. Because it's not really built to support that. The good news about that is I actually have an item on our schedule for this next year to rebuild our database code. And if we get that done, the next logical step would be to build a worldwide Dungeon Finder. So absolutely.
This is why some of our internal guilds that we test with are called Bull of the Database.
And I had a question about the channeler. Compared to, say, the base word, what will the mashing that's going on required to play it effectively? Like the base word, for example, requires quite a bit of buttons to play effectively. How would you compare the channeler to that?
Well, the channeler being a priest does have all of the tools it needs to be a priest. So it does have a bunch of abilities. It has less ability. On the sheer spellbook side, it has the biggest spellbook. But because you can only use 10 of them at a time, it probably has slightly less than the beast sword, but around the same as most priests. They just have to pick which ones they can use.
Thank you.
Hi, I had a question more or less for dungeon and raid stuff. We have a lot of people who are colorblind in our guild, and you guys seem to like to go for red circles and red text and red things like that, and there's no way for us to change that I know of. So they can't actually see those things for us to be able to do it, and I'm kind of usually doing the seeing eye healer thing with the green tag, trying to get them around and tell them what these circles are. Is there any way we can get that so we can actually change what color that is for those people so that way they can see what they're doing? Because they miss out on a lot of what's going on.
I think we'll have to look at that when we get back. So let me just explain on our side how it actually works. So the way we say, this is going to display text on your screen, we have to say, here's the RGB for the color of that text. And unfortunately, while red is, some people can't see red, but I also know some people can't see green, and some people can't see yellow. So we don't have any way of, right now, dynamically changing those colors. It should be possible, but I'm not a coder, but Ryan's writing it down, and we'll take a look when we get back and see if there's anything we can do about it. I can't promise anything.
All right, well, if there's anything you do, that'd be great. And the other thing I was going to ask is, I am a guild and /raid leader, and I have been so confused these last little bit of expansions of running my guild through all these different raid environments. I don't know where we're supposed to be in raid progression anymore, because the stuff coming out is of various difficulty levels going on, so we're not sure where you go after using them anymore. It's kind of confusing. So I don't know if you guys can keep that in mind for the future, but it's getting kind of confusing.
So I know there's a way to delete all the mail that's in your mailbox. Is there a way to receive all the mail in your mailbox? Because sometimes what I'll do is send a bunch of gear, say, to an alt that I don't play very regularly. And then next thing I know, I'll try to send him some gear and he'll say, oh, his mail.
Oh, you're saying like go in there and push a button and just reads
Take
it all,
all,
or takes all the edits out of it?
Right.
Nandy is there? He's writing it down.
I'll put it on our list of stuff. I mean, it's a good idea. I've been annoyed by that myself. Yeah, it's a great thing.
It's more of a sort of bug, a mind sort of bug, but it's a really annoying bug. Whenever someone presses push the torch, we've got a pull down menu scrolling through it, it resets the menu of everyone else's computer in the raid. And it's been driving our raid leaders or anyone sort of in the raid wild.
Are you talking about in or our internal voice chat?
In internal voice chat, yeah.
So when someone
So for example, you've got like 20 people in the raid, you're trying to assign the loops, you scroll down, if anyone else in the raid presses push to talk anywhere.
Oh, because it's updating the UI.
But is that a bug that's fixable?
Yeah.
I've been asked the
loop window, right?
On the loop window, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, drops rate. Okay, I was like, what?
Thanks.
Creates a little app bar with the little 6 buttons on there. It seems like a lot of times that's kind of like randomized when you start logging on your character. They don't stay the same as they were when you last grade scale, especially in experimentation or any others we can change too. Have you heard about this?
So maybe it's not saving properly?
Yeah, I mean, when I will set them in a certain order, log off, log back on, and they won't be in the same order.
Does it ever stay?
Well, I'm saying it'll stay, but I mean, if I log out and log back
So
on.
every time you relog it, it resets.
Yeah. And it doesn't always do it, but it does it sometimes. All right, the other thing is I actually brought this up last time. This is a suggestion for the solution. For those of us in two-box, auto-follow would be great if it actually followed the steps of the person in front of it. And somebody had suggested that they would actually allow you to set the distance for auto-follow. Probably improve things.
Yeah, the steps in front of it aren't actually meaningful to the game because what's happening is you're kind of doing something on your plane and every once in a while the plane tells the server where you are. So the server doesn't know how you necessarily got from here to, 50 feet away, so all the steps in between. But I do remember, I think it was last year's SOE Live, we talked about adding an auto-follow distance.
Right.
And I know that's in our queue somewhere.
Okay.
So it hasn't been forgotten about. I just don't think we've had time to act on it yet.
Let's get that from last year, so I think we're...
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, we definitely put it on our list.
Okay, I really like the new AA templates. They're great. One thing I noticed though when I was setting one up was that it stops telling me how many unsigned AAs I still have. That disappears, and I don't know how many I still have left to assign. And at some point you've signed all your AAs, and then it immediately goes into this projection mode where it starts storing up the next
The future AAs, yeah.
Right. And I don't really want it to do that because I want it to be able to stop when I assign everything I have. But the number seems to disappear. It says you have this many unsigned AAs.
I believe that we're looking into bringing back the spend as you go functionality, which I think is what you're asking for.
Well,
and if the unassigned points thing vanishes, that's a bug, and we have it written down, so we're looking into it. It's happened to Brian himself, so.
Thank you.
You just recently introduced a loyalty program that you do dailies, tracking, get that little currency to go to your currency account. And you can see that across all of your equipment on that one account. If we can do that, can we make it where, for instance, if we go say do a zillion dungeons on one person and you have hundreds of thousands of tokens on one person, can that be shareable across all of your characters?
The loyalty reward currency is shared across all of your characters.
Yeah.
You want everything shared across
Well,
all.
I mean, like for instance, if you have a tune this of 12, you can't see ovals. Obviously, they wouldn't see the ovals, but say they can see, dungeon tokens because they're level 20 and they should be able to go into the dungeon.
So you want everything that's in your currency window to be account.
That would be, yeah, that would be shareable for that type of character.
Yeah, that is definitely on our list of things to want to do. Unfortunately, the way that works is kind of not really meant to support that. We just kind of repurposed an existing system. So we need to figure out a way to kind of make that a little bit better. But yeah, it's on our list. It's definitely something we thought about right when we made the data loyalty tokens do the same thing. So the first thought that popped up for us was, well, we should just do this a different way. Unfortunately, one of the problems is that those tokens didn't exist before we just added them and we added them to the system. And so what what happens is when you log in, we check the count at your account level, and then we just set the count on whatever character you're on. So the problem will be with resolving that you have 10 here and then 13 on this other guy that you've never logged in.
Yeah, no,
and then you have to somehow, line those up in a meaningful way without losing anything.
We'll go from that. I did mention the other way. I have a guy that's got, I don't know, 1 million tokens, literally.
Aren't they all Ferguson?
They are. And
You just don't want to take them out.
We are. And, if you're going to buy, like for instance, you have not a whole bunch of weapons on the list, stuff that you can work out at your dungeon maker stuff. People walk away, for instance, you have a repair package you get the really nice one, repair yourself all the way up to 100%. And you use 75 tokens per, so, I mean, they're really great, but that's only 2 per stack, so that's like...
Yeah, it's definitely something that's on our list.
Last question before we get online. Any ideas as to revamping the Plenary dungeons? Maybe the ability to take whole raid loops that we don't need no more and put it into it or something like that?
We don't currently have any open plans for that I know about. So, no, it's not a bad idea. It's something we talked about, but I don't think we have the time for it right now.
For the people who are just walking in, we got a little bit of a late start, so the expansion panel will start in about 5 to 10 minutes.
A couple change questions. What role do you envision in the raid?
Channelers, if you are, that should, in a perfect world, soul the raid. I mean, no, in a perfect world, Channeler is supposed to be a healer that aims for, and I apologize, but there's to be blunt, the Inquisitor's raid spot.
And
one of their many raid spots.
with the channel, we're going to be able to spec all the different abilities for the pets and stuff.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
With the channel, how are we going to spec all the different abilities for the pets? Is that all going to be able to be saved in the templates so you can blow up and spec and have all these abilities to be?
So the way the abilities work is you're actually putting that on in your construct window, so it's not actually an AA spec, so you don't actually have to change anything. You can unlock all of those abilities. So if you're just saying that if you're going to give your buddy a spec,
no, like you're going to use like a different spec in order to fight.
Right.
You might want some different abilities. Is that going to be able to be saved as the abilities?
it will save. I'm 95% sure that it will save with your slide. So Taos technically has a hotbar. So if you use the save hotkeys command, it should save all of those as well. I'm assuming. But if it doesn't, it's a bug and we'll fix it. But so the way it actually works, just to clarify what I'm saying, is that construct window is actually a hotbar. And that bar, your conduit bar is actually a hotbar. So it should save if you want to change it like super fast with like macros, that's how you have to do it. But they're flayouts, right? So it takes about, I was switching this really quick between my sync about 10 seconds to swap out my abilities. It shouldn't take you that long, but right now the only way to save it is with hotkeys.
So when you click on those abilities,
any chance of changing how the red messages work with because right now, if you get a red message and then something else is supposed to appear that you need to react to right now, you don't get it until the other message or messages switch. Okay? Any chance of actually changing it though?
So the red messages should also show up in your chat window, which I know isn't quite as obvious. We have two different pop-up notification windows, one that does exactly what you're asking for, which is an immediate replacement of that text, and another one that queues it up and then cycles it out after some amount of time, which is the one that we use for our raid messages. Maybe what we should do, I'll break this down. Maybe what we should do is we should actually just make that a slate in the system where it just starts working.
Yeah, for the time being, we've been making active efforts to make sure that it does appear in your chat log at the same time, because we don't want you missing important raid messages.
have a trade security question. The gloves on the breaker, they increase your production by 10 on all characters except for the one that has 10 in mass production. It only goes to 15 and goes to 20. And I've reported this to GM.
So it's a bug in gloves, you're saying?
I know exactly what's causing that. I'll fix that.
Yes.
All right.
Will be fixed.
Yes.
Yes. One more quote. He says it's super simple, so we will fix it for you specifically. I like your hat.
Question for you. Again, trade skill, love mass production. Thank you very much for putting it in the game. How about ways to like mass transfer from your backpacks to the broker?
Yeah, so the problem with that is that in our wonderful database, the way that
killing our database.
The items in your backpack are actually in a completely different table than items on the broker. So anytime you actually transfer an item out of your bag or wherever into the broker system, it actually deletes it out of one table and then creates a whole new record. So if we let you kind of do that in mass, you can kind of flood the database with a bunch of requests. So maybe if we figured out, I mean, probably we could build a more efficient DB query that might be able to contain something like that, that it's not as easy to just, replicating the existing code automatically. Yeah.
Be careful with this.
Right now, we don't have any plans on making it, so it goes the other way. So, sorry.
I understand what you're always saying about being able to reset and create and set. So when you are max gear or you're gear now for trading, and you've got gear that giving you stats and you don't need a amount of time to trade. Right now, the way it's set up is you're building it, you're not seeing the stats change like they used to. You're building that stat or building that spec. And I understand what this question and maybe drag an arm rate that could be addressed, but you've got to make this here. We don't need to spend as long as we're a casting speed again. So as you're doing it, you can then allocate them to something else, like you're going to whatever else. That's, I think, the question that everybody's asking about that setup is because we're trying to find a tool like that, you're not seeing it until after you've already built this whole stack. It hit itself, and then we look at it and it's way too much. Way too much. All the retro shopping tree to fix that. I think that's the concern. There's a way to address that. Maybe building the spec, have it show over here where you would be without a AA.
Yeah, we plan to do this with the orders and case orders. I know probably that sounds like a weird comparison, but there's basically an invisible big pen that follows you around to bounce stats off. So even when your order isn't summoned, we can show you debt panels and stuff. We might be able to repurpose that so we can kind of have like a, here's what your stats are, and here's what they will be, type calculator. That's what we're asking. Yeah.
But then you don't know how it's actually going to apply to your character.
Right.
That's what everybody was asking about.
Yeah, so what Nandy said is we're going to try and figure that out. Also, I believe it might just work in the note as you go. We haven't actually got that fully functional. When the note as you go says it should show you your stats, we'll see if I can get you to do it. So I'm going to have to, whoever's last in line, looks like there's 2 right now. So after these 2 questions, we're going to get ready for the next one.
All right, I don't know if this is going to ask you. Is there any plans to implement a gear template so you have your trade skill, thing, GPS gear, all of this?
So we
drop down menu.
So you're talking about, I guess, some sort of Vanguard local gear sets.
Yeah, like your, just say your trade skill set,
So it's something we have talked about, but right now there's no return plans for that. What you can do right now is take back this idea. We have the technology.
Yeah, the backers are there. It's just
Yeah, right now there's nothing on our schedule to add more functionality. Right as of new backers right now. So as of right now, no, we don't have any to that.
Yeah, my question goes along with stats. If you take 4 tanks, they're all going to be in the same kind of rating situation. You'll get 4 opinions about what this does and what that does, because the stats aren't always really clear as to what it really does in SOE. Depends on a whole lot of outside sources. If I go someplace to look for what that piece does, then I get an opinion from this source. We don't seem to have any fixed, this does this, and when you get past this point, it doesn't do you any good. I will stop. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's even like reforging.
We're definitely.
How many times can you reforge? Oh, well, I reforged 6 times and did this, but that's an opinion.
We're definitely into whatever we ask to get. Constantly, we're looking into ways to make stats more clear. The thing is with EU2 is our stats are certain stats cap differently based on your class, based on like ability modifier, for example. It caps differently for each ability. So there's really no simple way for us in the game without giving you a gigantic like mouse over to like this does this or this and something else on this ability. But we're always looking at making it more clear. So we do want to focus on clarity, but it's a daunting task to send a piece for EverQuest II.
Okay, just one other issue with that is if you go to a site and it'll say if you have this much, then it's good, then you get diminishing returns. And then the formula is so complicated. It's this, that, down and down and down. So if there was some kind of cutoff, so that it only does this much, and then you don't have to figure 0.25.
Yeah, so what it sounds like you're looking at about hard caps.
Yeah,
one thing about hard caps is they have their purposes, right? But we don't like using them. We try to minimize the amount of hard caps we use, so things don't just go, yes, this one, we're done. Because that takes away some of the choice. You just realize, I need to get to here and I'm stopping. We like, well, do I want a little bit more multi attack for a little extra chance, or do I want some more, a little bit of crit bonus, or do I want some more repulsion chance or something? So we prefer soft caps.
But also, if you don't know what it's going to do for sure, then you're just you're going to get it.
It's with the clarity that we're trying to be more transparent on how things work, but it's a daunting task. We'll do our best. I'd like to thank everybody for attending the systems panel, and